Crysis all power up to the 30th anniversary PlayStation sale. This is a huge sale after the Black Friday one, and there's a load of games to go through, but as usual I've gone through it for you, and I found some really cool games to play that you can save a ton of money on as well. So if you love finding cool new games to play, and saving a lot of money along the way, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, and then you won't miss out on the cool deals ever again. You're welcome here anytime. This sale ends on the 20th of December, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up is Asterix and Obelix XXL 3, The Crystal Menhir. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.19, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal for an interesting game series. Now, there's a PS4 and PS5 bundle on sale, and a PS4 only version on sale as well, so make sure you pick up the right one, otherwise you'll be stuck with just the one version. Make sure you pick up the bundle that has the PS4 and PS5, so either check it online on the website store or buy it off a PS5 to make sure you get that bundle. This is a beat 'em up where after receiving a mysterious letter, Asterix and Obelix unearth the Menhir crystal and embark on an exciting adventure across the Roman Empire to unravel the secrets and incredible powers of the Menhir crystal, and it even features local 2-player co-op as well. It's a shame it doesn't have online co-op, but hey, at least it's got co-op. Offline's better than nothing. In general, you don't see a lot of beat-em-up games these days, and when you do see them, most of them are 2D or retro-inspired ones, so it's nice to see a more modern 3D one, and this is a really cool series. I'm a big fan of the Asterix comics, and if you like comics and haven't tried them, check them out, they're really fun, although I hear they're even funnier if you can speak French. Either way, if you're a fan of beat-em-up games, or you just like action games in general, especially ones you can play in local co-op, this game series has been around a while, and it seems to be pretty popular, so if you're into this sort of thing, or maybe you just really like Asterix, then why not check this out? It looks like a pretty decent game, at a pretty decent price as well. And hey, if you've never played a beat-em-up before, then you could definitely start here if you're looking for a more modern one, but if you're looking for a retro one or a 2D one, you've got much more options, and a lot of them are from legendary series, or even AAA ones as well, so you'll probably be better off starting with one of them, if you'd rather a 2D or retro one instead. But don't worry, don't miss the videos, and you won't miss them when they're on sale next. We have a management sim next, Aven Colony Deluxe Edition. It was released in 2017, so it's 7 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £2.49, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a fantastic deal for a really cool game in a rare genre, especially as this edition includes the Cerulean Veil DLC, so you're getting the complete version of the game as well, which is really cool. In this game, you get to build massive sprawling cities on Aven Prime, an alien planet full of deserts, tundras, and wetlands, where you get to manage a colony while exploring the planet, discovering its ancient secrets and alien wildlife through the story campaign. But you can also play the different levels in other modes as well, so you're not stuck to the campaign if you just want to revisit a certain map or level. Now, I've completed this game on PC, and I really liked it. It's got some rough edges, but in general it's a pretty decent game, and I really enjoyed the theme of it as well. I found it pretty addictive, and I was playing it quite a lot for a while until I completed it. I played a load of management sims and strategy games back in the day, and this is a really cool one. It may not be the best, most in-depth one ever made, but it's interesting enough to play, and at this price, you can't go far wrong really. If you're a fan of this genre, or maybe you've always been tempted by it, then why not check this game out? It's a nice little sci-fi city management game. And hey, if you never played a city management game before, then you could definitely start here. It's not massively complicated like some of them are, so it's not overwhelming for new players, and it's a really decent game at a really low price. You can't go far wrong really. If you've always been tempted by this genre, this is a great place to start, and you may just find your new favourite game genre. So if you're interested at all, why not check it out? It's a really decent game at a really great price. Next up, we have Battlefield Hardline Standard Edition. It was released in 2015, so it's 9 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £1.59, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal for a really different FPS game. In this game, you get to play as Detective Nick Mendoza on a cross-country vendetta of revenge. After being framed by corrupt cops, you break free from prison and have to take down the corrupt cops and their entire illegal drug operation. Now, I've completed this game in the past, and I actually really enjoyed it. In general, I like the story modes of first-person shooters, and this one was really different, because in this game you get to play as a cop, so it's set in modern cities and locations, and it's not war zones like you used to in Battlefield. Plus, being a cop, there's some extra features, like you have to worry about civilians, and you get to arrest people, like you can actually cuff people, which is really cool and different. I know it's old, and I know Battlefield has been up and down over the series, and this game's probably hated. If you look up the reviews, it's probably terrible. But if you're looking for something different and you like first-person shooters, why not take a look at this? You get to play as a detective in a pretty cool story for a really low price. I think you'll really enjoy it if you give it a chance. And hey, if you've never played an FPS before, then you could definitely start here. It's from a massive AAA franchise, and it's a really different and unique game as well, with a cool story. So if you like the look of it, at this price you can't go far wrong. Why not take a look at it? You might really enjoy it if you play it. And on a side note, Battlefield 4 is also on sale for 90% discount at a price of £1.59 as well. So if you want something a bit more Warzone-y, then why not take a look at that instead? I've completed that one as well, and I also enjoyed it. So if being a cop's not your thing, why not take a look at that one instead? Or maybe both of them if you're interested. At this price, why not? We have a VR game next, Battlewake. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and is on a 90% discount for the low price of £2.49, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a fantastic deal for a really different and unique VR game. This is a VR pirate ship combat game, where move controllers are supported, so if you have them you can use them, but if you don't, you can play it without them, which is really cool. In this game, you get to play as one of 4 pirate lords in solo, co-op, and PvP VR ship combat. It features 13 real and fantastical ship weapons, ship and skill set upgrades via gold earning in-game, and VR comfort settings for new VR players as well. So if you're worried about getting seasick, you won't have to worry about that with the settings. You should be alright. Although once you've manned up and got over your VR sickness, you won't care anyway. You'll turn that off and have a much better time. Now, there's not too many games like this in VR, especially on the PSVR one. I think this is the only pirate ship driving combat game that there is, where you get to captain the wheel of your ship and drive it around firing your cannons and having ship combat. Think like the Black Flag ship sections, but in VR, with much more like monsters and magic and cool effects and stuff, which is just as cool as it sounds. This is the sort of thing VR was made for, big spectacle cool stuff, and it looks great. I mean, I'm sure the online multiplayer is probably dead at this point, but it's got an offline mode and a single player as well, so you can still have fun with it, which is really cool. So if you're a big fan of pirates and you've got a PSVR one, then why not take a look at this? It's your only option, but it's a really cool and interesting one, and it's got great reviews as well. So why not take a look if you want to sail the high seas and have some great fun in VR? And hey, if you've never played a VR pirate ship combat game before, then why not take a look at this? It's practically your only option on this platform, and it's a really good deal at the moment as well. So if you're interested at all, why not take a look? It's really different and unique, and I think you'll enjoy it if you like VR and pirates. Up next is my star by Borderlands Legendary Collection. It was released in 2020, so it's 4 years old, although the games are obviously older than that really, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £7.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a fantastic deal, especially because it's not on sale very often as well. And this collection includes Borderlands Game of the Year Edition, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands the pre-sequel as well. So you're getting the first 2 games and the prequel as well, which is really cool. In these FPS, you get to play a trilogy of awesome first-person looter shooters set on the world of Pandora, where vault hunters search for rumored ancient treasure vaults while dealing with the evil corporation that controls the lawless planet. Now this series is pretty huge. When the first one came out it made waves and it was very popular, and the sequels have been good as well. They're known for having really cool action looter shooter gameplay, and it's basically the pinnacle of the action looter shooter these days. And alongside that, it's known for having a really cool sense of humour as well. So if you like first person shooters with a story and a bit of humour, and especially if you like looter shooters where you get to find different guns with different stats and upgrade them constantly, then you'll really enjoy this. It's a really popular series for a reason, they're really well liked, and if you like FPSs and you want a good deal with a load of games, you can't go far wrong with this. Especially if you've been waiting to get into this series, this is a great chance for you. Like I said, it's my star buy. It's well worth your time and money, I promise. So why not take a look at it? And hey, if you've never played an FPS before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. It's a really good series and you're getting a lot for your money, but that's the main reason I wouldn't recommend it. You're getting 3 games, so if you don't end up liking them, then you've got a lot of games that you're not going to play. So you're probably better off starting with just one game instead, that you can pick up cheaper on its own. Although if you're really into this series or this collection, then why not take a look? It's a really great deal for some really good quality games. Crysis Remastered Trilogy is our next game. It was released in 2021, so it's 3 years old, although the games are much older than that really. And it's on an 80% discount for the price of £7.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, for non-PS Plus members, which is great. This trilogy includes all 3 Crysis games, remastered with PS4 Pro enhancements, available on the PS4 Pro and PS5, which is really cool. In these FPS, you get to play as a futuristic super soldier, wielding a high-tech nanosuit enhancing your speed, strength, and armor with a built-in cloaking system as you fight in a war against an alien invasion of Earth, as you're trying to find the alien Alpha to end the war forever and save humanity. Now, when the first game originally came out, it was huge. The graphics were amazing, the gameplay was amazing, and for ages it was the benchmark for if your PC was good. If it could run Crysis, then it was a high-end PC. Now, these days obviously that's tailed off, but these games are remastered as well. The first one was a big cultural hit, and the sequels not so much. Generally, the reviews got better the more the games went on, and were more well thought of as better games, even if the series did fall out of popularity in general. But hey, if you like first-person shooters and you're looking for good value for money, you're getting 3 AAA really good quality FPS games here for a complete story at a really good price. So if you're interested in really cool sci-fi FPS shooting that's story-based, then why not take a look at these? You can't go far wrong, and I think you'll really enjoy them if you like this sort of thing. And hey, if you've never played an FPS before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. You're getting a lot of games for your money that you won't play if you don't like them. And on top of that, they are a bit of a niche in the genre. You're probably better off starting with something a bit more mainstream instead. So unless you're really interested in this trilogy, then you're probably better off checking out my future videos and picking up an individual FPS instead. It'll probably be cheaper and you'll save yourself a bit of money. We have a VR game next, Electronauts. It was released in 2018, so it's 6 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £1.69, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a fantastic deal for a really cool and unique VR game. This is a VR DJ music synthesis game, where move controllers are required, so if you don't have them you can't play it, which is really good because it's essential to the way the game plays, and I wouldn't have it any other way. In this game, you get to become one with the beat and create music no matter your skill level. It features over 80 songs from top artists like Childish Gambino to sample from and remix into your own creations. Now, I'm not really into music creation and that sort of stuff, but I've had friends along the years that are, and what they can do with stuff is amazing to me. And if that's the sort of person you are, you can probably make some really cool music with this. It's a really interesting and unique way to make music, and it also provides a lot of songs from big musicians to choose from as well. It may not be as versatile as some of the custom PC stuff, but hey, if you've got a PSVR 1 and you like music, this is a really cool way to get into this sort of thing, and you might really enjoy yourself along the way. It's a definitely different and unique gaming experience, and this is the sort of thing that I think VR is designed for. Really cool and unique experiences that you play in ways that you couldn't play otherwise. So if you're interested in music creation or something very different and unique, then why not take a look at this? For PSVR 1 owners, it's a really cool and unique thing that you just couldn't play otherwise. And hey, if you never played a music creation VR game before, then you could definitely start here. It's more or less your only option, because all the other music games just allow you to play with music rather than actually create your own, and it's at a really low price as well. If you're interested at all, you can't go wrong when it's this cheap. So if you're tempted, why not take a look at it? It might just be the best thing you've played in ages. We have a huge game next, Hogwarts Legacy Digital Deluxe Edition. It was released in 2023, so it's only a year old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of $18.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal considering how new it is, how big the franchise is, and the original price of it. Now, this version includes both the PS4 and PS5 version, plus the Thestral mount, and the Dark Arts Battle Arena cosmetic set and Pharisee hat as well. So the extras aren't that big really, but you do get both versions, so if you are interested in getting the PS4 and PS5 version, this is a pretty decent deal. If not though, you're probably better off waiting for the non-deluxe edition to come on sale instead. It'll end up being cheaper than this. In this open world game, you get to join Hogwarts in the 1800s as a customizable wizard who holds the key to an ancient secret that threatens to tear the wizarding world apart, as you make allies along the way and battle dark wizards to decide the fate of the world. Now, this is basically a dream come true for any Hogwarts fan or Harry Potter fan in general. It's a really good quality open world AAA game set in Hogwarts where you get to customize your own character as a student and have a really cool fun time with a great story. It had absolutely rave reviews when it came out, and everyone that played it loved this thing, especially people that love Harry Potter. They had the time of their lives with this game. And hey, if you're into open world action games or fantasy games, then why not take a look at this? It's a really big budget, good quality game with rave reviews, and it's at a pretty decent price at the moment. So if you like any of this, why not take a look at it? It may not be the cheapest game around, but it's a really good one for a good deal at the moment. And hey, if you've never played an open world game, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. It's way too expensive right now, and you can pick up older AAA legendary games for way cheaper than this. So unless you're really into Harry Potter, although you can still pick up some of the older Harry Potter ones as well, cheaper than this, they won't be as good, but they will be much cheaper. You have a lot of options anyway, and I would recommend starting with something else unless you're really into this specific game. So don't forget to watch the videos, and then you won't miss out when they come on sale next. We have a different game next, House Flipper. It was released in 2020, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £1.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, for a really different game. In this simulation, you get to work as a DIY handyman, doing jobs for the local residents, earning money to buy your first property and renovate your dream home. It features an upgradable set of renovation tools to tackle any renovation job that comes along. Now, this game was pretty popular when it came out. There was a run of games similar to this, where you got to buy houses and decorate them and flip them and that sort of thing, or like Thief Simulator and stuff like that. There was like a whole genre of these games that all came out at the same time. And this is one of the more popular ones. People really like the decorating TV shows where you see people renovate houses and rooms and stuff, and I think it ties into that. If you're the sort of person that likes spending time in games where it's a bit relaxing and you're not really doing too much that's stressful or complicated, then why not take a look at this? You get to play around with house renovation and decoration in a really fun and cool way. So if this really unique game is something that you like the sound of, why not take a look at it? I think for the right person, this will be a lot of fun for barely any money. So why not check it out if you like the sound of any of this? I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun if you give it a chance. And hey, if you've never played a simulation game before, then you could definitely start here. If you're really into house decoration and renovating, you don't have a lot of options really, outside of things like The Sims and stuff, but this looks like a really cool game at a really low price. So if you're into this really specific niche, I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun. But if not, don't worry, there's plenty more games for you to choose from in other sales as well. We have a horror game next, Prey Digital Deluxe Edition. It was released in 2018, so it's 6 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £6.99, which is a really great deal for a really cool game. And this includes £16 worth of DLC, including the new Moon Crash game mode, the multiplayer mode, and an exclusive VR campaign as well. So if you've got a PSVR one, that's a really cool bonus that you'll really enjoy. In this first-person shooter, you are the subject of an experiment that goes horribly wrong, and now the space station you're on is infested with aliens, and you must rely on your wits, weapons, and newly gained abilities to survive and make it out alive. Now, this is a really popular and good quality horror FPS game, and the hook of the aliens is that they can mimic objects and hide as things in the environment, so you never know when you're safe or where they could be at any point in time, which is really cool. This is a reboot of an old series, and the old series was really popular, and people were disappointed when this reboot didn't continue on from it. But it was a really good game and it was really popular. It got great reviews, and people really loved it when they played it. So if you're into first-person shooters with cool stories, and you like horror games, then why not take a look at this? It's a really good AAA game with a load of content included for a really good price. You can't ask for much more really. And hey, if you've never played an FPS before, then you could start here if you like horror games. You can get other bigger AAA games cheaper than this as well though, but most of them aren't horror games. So if horror's your thing, then definitely take a look at this, because you're getting a lot for your money and it's a good quality game. But if you're not into horror, you've got so much to choose from in this genre, and most of them will be cheaper than this. And if that's the case, then check out my future videos, and then you'll have plenty of options to choose from, I'm sure. We have a visual novel next, Root Film. It was released in 2021, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £8.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal as far as anime and visual novel games go. This is a visual novel, mixed with an adventure game, set 10 years after a TV show was mysteriously cancelled, where you are directing the remake when a murder suddenly halts the production. Now you get to interact with a cast of memorable characters as you investigate to find the truth behind the murder and the history of the previous show. Now, in general, visual novels aren't for everyone because there's a lot of reading in them, so if you're not the sort of person that likes reading books or in general likes reading and storytelling through text, then you won't enjoy this game or this sort of genre in general. But hey, if you're into visual novels or you're okay with reading, this is a pretty cool looking one. Crossing it with an adventure game where you get more of a sort of gameplay element and investigation seems really cool to me. So if you're into anime games, visual novels, or adventure games, or maybe a combination of a few of these, then definitely take a look at this. It's a different and unique game that's not going to be for everyone, but if it's the sort of game that interests you, you'll probably have a lot of fun with it. And if that's the case, then why not take a look at it? It might be the most unique and cool game you've played in ages. And hey, if you've never played a visual novel game before, then you could start here. In general, you have a lot of options, but most of them are pretty expensive and you don't get a lot of them on a low sale. So this is a pretty good one at a pretty decent price. If you're into the adventure gameplay and the investigation sort of theme of the story, then take a look at it. But if not, there'll be plenty of other visual novels with different stories and themes for you to pick from in future sales instead. Spiritfarer Farewell Edition is our next game. It was released in 2020, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the low price of £2.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, as this edition includes all of the released DLC, so you're getting the complete version of the game with everything included, which is great. In this adventure game, you get to play as Stella, a fairy master who cares for spirits as she guides them into the afterlife, where you build your own boat and explore the world befriending spirits to help pass over. It features farming, crafting, cooking, and 2-player local co-op as well. Now this game is beloved, and I mean beloved. Everyone that plays it absolutely adores it. They say it's such an emotional experience, which I think is to be expected. I mean, the game's based around you ferrying spirits to the afterlife, so it's going to be based around death and sad stories of how people died or regrets in life and that sort of thing. But this game's story writing is supposed to be amazing. Like I said, just read some of the reviews. People absolutely love this thing. And when I see love like this for a game, then you know it has to be good. And this is a very different and unique game that covers themes of death and loss. So you're more or less guaranteed emotional results. If you're into cool, different and unique games, and you like storytelling in an emotional way, then you should definitely check this out. It's a very different and unique sort of niche, but it's a really special game, I think. And people that are interested in this will have a really good experience. So if you like any of what I've said, take a look at it. It may just be the best game you've ever played. And hey, if you've never played an adventure game like this before, then you could definitely start here. It's an absolutely loved game for a really low price, and it looks really good quality. Pretty much the only reason I wouldn't say to look at it is if you're not into story-driven games, or games that are themed around death or loss, or if you're not into emotional games either. Then I'd stay clear if that's the case. But otherwise, why not take a look at it? It's very different and unique, and for people that give it a chance, I don't think they'll have any regrets playing it. Up next, we have Star Wars Jedi Cross-Gen Bundle Edition, which is the stupidest name I've ever seen. What is a bundle edition? It's an edition of a bundle. This is the only bundle that's like this. There are no multiple editions. Whoever named this copy and pasted in the wrong place and didn't even check it. Anyway, it was released in 2024, so it's brand new, although the games are older than that really, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of $19.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal considering it includes 2 full AAA games, and one of them's pretty new, as this bundle edition, stupid name, includes Jedi Fallen Order and the sequel Jedi Survivor on PS4 and PS5, so you're getting both games with both versions included, which is really cool. Although keep in mind that the first game you can get pretty cheap when it's on sale, so you're effectively paying about £15 for the sequel, so keep that in mind for the value proposition. In these third-person adventure games, the first game you get to play as an abandoned Padawan who must find a way to complete his training, develop new Force abilities, and master the lightsaber, all while staying one step ahead of the Empire, constantly hunting him. While in the sequel, set 5 years later as the galaxy descends further into darkness, Cal is pushed to the edge of the galaxy, finding himself surrounded by threats, both new and familiar, as he fights desperately for his survival. Now, the first game when it came out got rave reviews, massively popular, huge amount of love, great awards, pinnacle of Star Wars gaming in modern times. It's basically a Souls-like game, but not as punishing or as difficult, so it's more accessible to people who aren't into Souls-like games. And the sequel did have some rough moments when it came out because there was a load of bugs, specifically game-breaking ones and ones that wiped your save, so it did get a bit of mixed reviews for it not living up to the first game a bit, and also having some launch issues. But hey, the launch is done now, so that stuff's been ironed out. And the second game is more of the first game. It continues the story, and it may not have made as big a wave as the first game, but hey, it's a really good game from a really good series, and it carries on the story. So if you like the first one, you'll like the second one. All in all, if you're a Star Wars fan, this is the modern game series you want to be playing. Stay away from Outlaws and that garbage. Play this instead. If you're into Souls-like games, not as difficult though, keep that in mind, or just third-person action-adventure games, and you're a big fan of Star Wars, or maybe even not a fan of Star Wars, because these are good quality enough that they stand alone. Check these out. Considering how new the sequel is, this isn't a bad deal. And hey, if you never played a third-person adventure game before, then I wouldn't start here. They're really good and they're from a huge franchise and one of them's really new, but it is still quite pricey compared to other deals. So if you want to try a third-person action adventure, you're much better off starting with another series instead, because older ones from things like Uncharted are way cheaper and you have a load to choose from as well, especially AAA ones and even legendary game series as well. So don't forget to watch the videos and then you won't miss them when they're on sale next. And the final game I have for you is the Chant. It was released in 2022, so it's 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £4.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal for an interesting looking survival game. In this survival horror, a weekend at a spiritual retreat goes wrong when the gloom, a psychedelic dimension of terror, is accidentally awakened. Now you must unravel the complex history of the island to survive. Now, in general, survival horror is a massive genre, and it's a really popular one as well. You know, you get big things like Resident Evil and that sort of series, but in general, you get a load of indie games as well because it's that popular. In the horror genre, I would say survival horror is probably the most popular niche of that, and this looks like a really cool and interesting game from that series. The reviews are amazing. People are loving this game. Whoever plays it seems to have absolutely had a brilliant time, and considering it's a game from a studio that isn't really known, and it's out of nowhere, then that's really impressive. They've done a good job from what I can tell, and this looks like a really good quality diamond in the rough. So if you're a fan of survival horror, or you like story-driven horror games, then why not take a look at this? It looks like really good quality to me, and my gut feeling says it's amazing and well worth playing. I think anyone that's into this sort of genre will have a lot of fun if they give this game a chance. So definitely take a look at it if you like the sound of that. And hey, if you've never played a survival horror before, then you could definitely start here. You can get other bigger AAA ones for around the same price when they're on sale, but this looks like a really good quality game, and it is a bit cheaper compared to most of the other games when they're on sale. So if you like the look at this, why not take a look at it? It might just be the coolest game you've played in a while. And that's all the games I have for the 30th anniversary PSN sale. Here's a little bit of fun for you. In the last sale, I noticed this error on the Psychonauts 2 game page. Yep, that's right, it has the support link to the Xbox support website. So I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that whoever was doing the text for the PSN store copy and pasted it from the Xbox one that they'd already written and didn't check the links that were in it. Now, I might be wrong and it might not be an error, but I think they've probably just put the wrong link on there. But yeah, anyway, right now on the UK store, Psychonauts 2, you can see a link to the Xbox support website, which I think is hilarious. Anyway, what did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones or did I pick bad ones? And what about the start buy? Did it deserve it, or should some other game have won it instead? Leave all your comments below, and we could talk about it later. Anyway, I hope you found some really cool games to play, but more importantly, I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hoil Vow.